Student Game Report with the man, Kyle F. and Nash. Another crazy week of football. Kyle, what's up, buddy?
Another crazy week of football, yet we still live in a world where you have a T-shirt. That's what's up.
A T-shirt?
Oh, what do you mean?
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. So if you guys don't know this, you guys follow this podcast. You probably know by now. Like I've been saying in the last couple episodes we're doing that I do appear also on our good friend Big James Neese's podcast, Huddle Up. Second season now. We're doing this now. You and I both, especially every Tuesday night. Bing, it's right. And Jim decided to make a T-shirt based off my, was it a moniker? I guess we'll call it now.
Well, no, it's your segment where you present your power rankings on Huddle Up, and you're a tool.
But people ask me why, where the tool. First of all, it came from you, asshole.
Really is. I did.
Okay.
No, actually, no, sir. I will not be blamed for the muse that is your horrible takes. I forget even what it was you said. It might have been your Cowboys fanhood that you declared sometime this time last year. Okay. No, I will find the goddamn tape, Ernest Christian.
We have lots of podcasts. I got a lot of tape here. Come on, let's go. YouTube. First Speaking Podcast.
Away. Oh, wait. Now suddenly you embrace video. This bitch wouldn't even watch my show on video for how long, and now he's all about it. This damn guy. Anyways, no. But probably around the part where you declared yourself a Cowboy fan last year, I called you a tool for doing so. I had no idea it would stick like it has. But now a T-shirt and a coffee mug.
For the audience, real quick. I am not a Cowboys fan, okay? Let's stop there. I'm a Giants fan.
A Patriots fan.
No, I'm not. I like Tom Brady. I love Tony Romo as a kid growing up. I mean, it's what it is. I mean, I appreciate players more than else, but Cowboy fan, hell no.
Okay. This is all so confusing.
Let's root for the Bengals this week. What are you talking about, buddy? Come on now. Anyway, we have Kyle. We have a lot to get to. Like I was hoping. My goal was to, I promised the audience that these episodes wouldn't go 2 hours. First week, obviously, makes first week.
I'm a DFS Justin Fields. They need to put in more work. You don't rush perfection.
No, I agree. First week, obviously, makes sense. First week, a lot to talk about. Last week, a lot to talk about too. Come out week one.
Mm-hmm.
This week, still got a lot to talk about week 2. So I don't know how I don't know if we'll do maybe a little less, but I think we had another long one ahead of us here. But let's get started here first and foremost. First thing on our mind last night, we had 2 Monday Night Football games last night.
We did.
Before we get to the games, can I just ask you, why did we get 2 this week but not week 1? Do you know why?
No, I don't. And it's probably some sort of a logistic issue that, is out of our pay grade or whatever. And it could also be, kind of experimenting with how to do certain things. And I mean, listen, if you're in a position to where you have Joe Buck and Troy Aikman, as much as I think they're overrated calling games, you use it because it's a popular thing. By the way, smoked your boy Booger McFarland doing prime time for the Monday night games after Chris Berman and he were done. Booger McFarland continuing to be awful at his job, and here comes Joe Buck and Troy Aikman just lighting up, talking about the Monday night game. So that's always fun. And listen, as things lead more towards the streaming platforms and people can talk schmack on Al Michaels paying Jeff Bezos tribute during the Thursday night game, for setting it up, that Amazon Prime is a home for these games. There's going to be a lot more experimentation like this because there's still some things to get figured out. And the biggest entities are the ones that are slowest to change. You and I have had a cut cord experience for some time at home, and now that the NFL is logging in, listen, the only thing that might be more influential than something like the NFL doing this would be the way that porn was influential on video cassettes. Ever heard of Betamax? I know you have. You're old enough, but for those who had,
I'm right behind you.
Betamax superior technology. It was a better quality. It had more storage on each disc, et cetera, et cetera. Died. Why? Because the adult film industry leaned into VHS.
And now we're here. Pornhub.
There's the internet streaming in its original form by way of the adult film industry.
Click. That's all you need to do. Click. Done. We're there. Okay, so we have 2 games last night. First one, Tennessee, Buffalo. Wow. Buffalo Bills.
No, and
without Gabe Davis too, in fact.
Yeah, I heard about that too. And listen, if you weren't sure as to whether he should go, this is a game you leave him out. I don't think anyone was surprised. My friends Teron Davenport and Mike Patton had to watch this game, and as a matter of being professionals and covering them. Mm-hmm. But nobody won with this matchup, and honestly, I was far less surprised by this result than a lot of other things that happened, including the Sunday night game with the Packers and the Bears. Like, apparently there's a reason why Jake from State Farm is staying so rich, and that's because Rodgers has to keep paying on insurance for the property that is the Bears that he owns.
Okay, side note real quick on the Bears and Packers. And look, I respect the fact that it's the longest rivalry history league. I get all that.
When they were the Decatur Staleys,
right? But is there a rivalry I can give less of a fuck about than this one, honestly?
Well, and right now that's fair to say. I mean, the teams are kind of lopsided, but it's they like. I'll put it this way: this in me is in league with Michigan and Ohio State in college, right? That's the oldest rivalry, perhaps the most popular rivalry from a nationwide standpoint, but only lately has it been relevant. How many years straight did Ohio State beat Michigan before Harbaugh did the job last year, right? So it's one of those things where I think we need to keep it alive for the historical standpoint. That
traditional
matters. Yeah, tradition. I'm not a slave to tradition, but I do pay attention and respect it.
But Kyle, you probably won't believe me when I say this though, but even when both teams were actually on equal footing, I never really cared about the rivalry.
Well, that's because you're a basketball fan who knows diddly about.
Oh, come on! Why the basketball on this? I don't get that.
Who is a fan of so many teams that there's no way you could respect rivalry the same way. And as much as I joke, listen, it starts with that fan base. The way the Packers are relevant in a market that isn't is just insane to me.
No, I agree with 100%. I agree 100%.
A big major market in the form of Chicago. There's magic there you can't account for. And for all the trash I talk as the student of the game and having done the research, there's no way I can account for it. I still, to this day, don't know why anybody gives a damn about Jim McMahon as a quarterback other than the fact that he was one who did the Super Bowl shuffle. That is it.
That's it. All right, back to the Titans and Bills. Bills rather. Oof, wow. Again, we said it last week. Come out week one when they beat, slaughtered the Super Bowl champs, and now this week they're at home. That crowd was Monday Football. That crowd was Bills Mafia came out last night.
Well, it's because it's not cold yet.
Well, right, and that's the thing. It's not cold yet, and they still come out. It was cold. The craziest shit.
That's
man, Buffalo Bills. To me, it feels like this. It's the Bills right now, and then everybody else.
I can't go that far.
Okay.
I can see why you say that. And right. Buddy, like the fact that you disrespect your Kansas City Chiefs by making that statement is absolutely ridiculous to me. You're leaving out the part where the Bills have a lot of flash and played against a Rams team that came out flat, that had former players former Rams on the team for the Bills to be motivated for opening night and go to work. And then the other battle that the Bills have is the hapless Titans, who lost to the Giants, which, I mean, I'm sorry you as a Cowboys fan had to see that happen, but that's a hapless team too that the Titans lost to. There's a reason why they're in the cellar in one of the worst divisions in football. So the Bills have a lot of flash, so it's easy to spot, and I think the answer is somewhere in the middle with the Bills, because I don't think they've truly been challenged yet. Not saying they're bad. Again, still my Super Bowl pick. Again, that flash is making me look real damn smart. But head and shoulders above, yeah, you're hitting the sell button way too fast on this.
Well, that's what I did say. Last week I did say it was Bills, Chiefs, everybody else. He wrote about it about Substack. This week, I think there's a little bit of separation between those two teams.
I can't agree with that at all.
Okay, fair enough. And then you had the second game last night, Eagles and Vikings. Kirk Cousins in primetime. It's still a thing. It remains a thing.
So for those who haven't seen the movie Gremlins, I know it's an 80s movie, but there's these creatures called Mogwai who hate bright light. Kirk Cousins is apparently a crossbreed of one. Bright light. Oh. Our good friend Matt Muehlheisen. I probably said his name wrong.
Muehlheisen.
Muehlheisen. I did say it right. Cool.
Yeah.
Helped me do picks last week. And at one point, I had said Titans by mistake. And he was like, oh, that's a pretty risky bet. And I said, that's nothing compared to siding with Captain Kirk Cousins, is it? And how right again do I look? So that's the thing. If the Vikings ever flirt with being good, they'll be flexed out of success by having Sunday night games under the lights. So it's 22. That is Kirk Cousins at quarterback. And can we not take away from Jalen Hurts? Wow.
I was going to get there. Jalen Hurts. He looked again, and we'll get to like another quarterback that made have put his name in a docket.
We'll talk about that too, but I'll probably be very unpopular with my take on him.
So it's okay on that one. But
punchline is, if you don't have a good defense, Jalen will make it so that your team hurts by the end of the game.
Yeah, he was fantastic last night, and maybe this is the inflection point now of Hurts being the guy moving forward. We'll see. A lot of football ahead of us, though.
And by the way, for these past two takes, there is no element of I tried to tell you, but you wouldn't listen, because, I mean, these are things we picked out already. There's a lot of stuff where people are sounding the alarm, and I'm like, you and I don't have this problem, but I'm watching NFL primetime, for example, and here's, Booger, again, embarrassing all of us and stealing money from both you and I.
You really can't stand that guy, can you?
I really can't, because that's a real thing. He's not only stealing money from NFL guys that are trying to cover the sport, but from college football guys as well. And I could let loose with Lucifer Morningstar. I tried to tell you, but you wouldn't listen, through so much of that analysis. And it's not just him, but I digress.
Real quick, before we get to some of these topics here, you mentioned Amazon Prime, Al Michaels, Kirk Herbstreit. What do you think about that combination?
Listen, Al Michaels is a damn immortal, and
yes, Mount Rushmore.
Mount Rushmore isn't high enough for what Al Michaels does, and that doesn't. I mean, he could do any sport. I've been alive to where he was a big enough name too on a baseball game on my desktop. That my dad played. He was the voice. Do you believe in miracles?
Yes.
That call for the 1980 Olympics is a signature moment that will live on forever in museums, right? Indiana Jones, it belongs in a museum. You're damn right. Okay. So, and then above that, as an octogenarian, making Kirk Herbstreit look good. Do yourself a favor sometime. Not the whole game. Just pick out a slot of both that Thursday night game and the last game he called on ESPN with Game Day. And what you will see is somebody who's stumbling through somebody who looks good being handed the ball by a goddamn expert. For context, DJ Christian, it's the difference between Eli Manning in the Super Bowl years where he had support and thereafter where he didn't.
That's a reminder. Appreciate it. I thought Kirk, to me, for the most part, like, he's good at what he does, but he felt out of place because he's a college guy. I hear his voice like,
that's
it's a college thing,
That's a tradition thing for you. And I hear that. I was able to turn that off. And listen, he did a good job. But again,
those are two.
When you're being handed the ball by Al Michaels, come on. It's just like John Madden was actually pretty bad at his job from kind of an analysis standpoint. He was good at talking O-linemen, and he was good at being entertaining. But when you have Pat Summerall or Al Michaels at your hip, you're not going to look bad. It's not possible.
To me, those two that you just mentioned, that's 1 and 2 play-by-play guys all time in NFL. Al Michaels, Pat Summerall. Boom.
Absolutely.
Whatever you want to put, I don't give a shit, but whatever. Something comes close to your heart here. I feel cheated here. I feel really cheated, Kyle. Trey Lance season-ending injury. As a guy who loves football, as a guy that wants to see, we don't know 2 years in how good this guy is. We don't know. 4 starts. We don't know. That's why I get on people like, oh, Jimmy's better than. How do we know that? We haven't seen enough tape to even assess that.
So there's a couple things. First of all, we can't assess that because they're not the same style of quarterback. And
right.
This is proof of the talent of Kyle Shanahan to be able to coach. And this is the proof of the talent of GM John Lynch, Hall of Fame safety John Lynch, and his ability to put together a roster that can be built to two different styles of quarterback can be brought in and show success at a level that you cannot take the San Francisco 49ers out of the postseason conversation, even with a hiccup like the lucky sorry Bears winning that first game, even with the quarterback starting being done for the year. They're still a very big threat That is called depth, my friend. And
Yeah.
I do not have the proper scuba certification to account for that. Now, as far as feeling ripped by Trey Lance being hurt, of course. And I'll see that and raise you this, Ernest Christian. At this point, the guy has missed more games than he's played, or is about to, I should say. It's very likely that happens, right? You're a basketball guy, Greg Oden. Okay. So I think that problem is starting to rear its head. And with the quarterback class that's allegedly coming out next year, that's supposed to be all this, that, and the other thing, and a bag of chips, by the way, according to analysts, right? I don't see, if you're the 49ers, how you don't pass on Trey Lance and try to get the next big thing, because Garoppolo's hitting the free agency market next year. Someone's going to take a shot at him, and you're not wanting to pay Jimmy Garoppolo that much anymore. Period.
I see your point there.
Yeah, I think, and even while it might be a good football decision to keep him in the building at this point, especially with him smelling the starting spot again by way of injury, what if Jimmy goes, however many weeks straight, and Trey Lance is starting to come back to health? And let's say he's lost 2 games. How do you pull Jimmy at that point? That's a problem.
Yeah.
So, and granted, I appreciate the franchise being flexible and going to win now when going into teaching mode went away. Think of Matt Ryan in his rookie year, where the Falcons nearly made the playoffs, and he was trying to learn how things were doing.
Right.
And he came around to eventually be an MVP candidate. That was a smart franchise play by the Falcons. But if this injury robs so many people, and listen, I'm not trying to act like I don't like Trey Lance. I was a jury is still out guy. I mean, he hadn't thrown 100 NFL passes going into the season, and all sorts of stats that you could look up that proved he needs to develop more. But I guess an argument can be made that depending on how his recovery goes, you shut him down for the year and let him get another offseason in. Because the problem is, though, off seasons don't account for accuracy when the bullets are flying.
I agree. Let's do the quarterbacks here. Steelers 1-1 right now. Tough loss to the Patriots this week. Which begs a question now, because a lot of people, two games in, not very happy with Mitchell Trubisky at quarterback.
You haven't added him to your soundboard yet, have you, EJ Christian?
Well, my soundboard is down right now because
because you suck at life. Here, I'm a good voice actor, so I'll go ahead and do it. I tried to tell you, but you wouldn't listen.
That's right. Oh. Is it time?
Yes.
To bench Trubisky.
Yes. I'm shouting over it because that name still isn't sticking in it.
Trubisky.
There,
got in.
I'm on your show.
Trubisky.
Okay, T-Dog Mitch ain't it, dog. All right? I keep trying to tell you, but you won't listen. All right? No. But Kyle, they're worried about Kenny Pickett throwing interceptions. Okay, great. You know what happens? You lose 27-24 because Pickett throws an unfortunate interception late, or you lose to the Patriots because you can only score 14 bleeding points.
Right.
Okay, and let's be real. Mitchell Trubisky did his damnedest to lose that game last week. Minkah Fitzpatrick willed that team to win.
Yeah, I think I'm there now too. I think
to the party, pal.
I think in the back of their mind too. Also, they had a time frame when they want to do this. I think they played Jets week 5 or week 4, 1 or 2. That Jet game was probably the time. It maybe have to be sooner than that. Because here's the thing also too for the Steelers. You don't want to lose this team or lose this opportunity to win the division, because here's the thing. Everybody's lost a game in that division now. Bengals are 0-2. Okay. Bengals 1-1. Browns 1-1. They're gonna fall apart at some point anyway. Why risk losing an opportunity here with a guy that I think clearly we can agree that is probably better right now as a quarterback than Mitchell Trubisky, of course.
Well, let's say that they're exactly the same, EJ Christian.
Yeah.
And again, the evidence that I brought to the table was a preseason game.
You did last week, yes,
and all that. Well, more than last week to the show, sure, but over and above, I think I've talked about it on the Student of the Game podcast as well. Bing! I still don't understand how you got through that preseason. And again, I am not brave enough to call out my dude Omar Epps. I loved the show House, and he was great at. Wait, what? Sorry, Mike Tomlin. I keep doing that. I am not in a position to knock a dude who has yet to experience a losing season.
Exactly.
In a division that may not have been the best in the NFL, but like Bill Murray was always among the top comedians in Hollywood, the AFC North is always among the top divisions in the NFL. I don't give a damn who you are. If you say otherwise, you're just wrong. And actually, I can make an argument perhaps for some years with the AFC North was the best conference in the league during his tenure. But this is one I don't understand. It's one I don't understand.
It's probably doing the traditional thing of like, let's wait your turn kind of thing.
That doesn't make sense. You tell me something Tomlin does that's traditional, and you're probably right that that's a possibility, or maybe he leaned with the players because they seem to like Trubisky better. I truly do not know. As a player's coach, he might be in a place to support veterans better. I'm with you that that's probably it, but why go traditional now? That doesn't make sense.
Right. I'm with you. All right, this weekend was a weekend of big collapses in the NFL. We had 3 games that teams that
I'm getting sick of sorry. This was a big week. Bitch, did you watch the games last week? We just talked about Minka Fitzpatrick
and folks ain't learned this week because we've had 3 more.
We're trying to think the Jets should have competed with the Ravens last week because they shouldn't. We're trying to act like Nathaniel Hackett doesn't exist. Come on, fools. I just mentioned the damn Bears.
So we had 3 big collapses this week. We had the Dolphins and Ravens. Dolphins came back and beat the Ravens. I mean, 21 points. We had the Jets and the Browns, of course.
I count that.
And then the Cardinals and Raiders collapsed as well too. Of the 3 games, which was the worst? Which was the worst collapse of the 3? In your opinion?
So it's not the Raiders, although a lot of people are going to pick that because they're done.
Okay.
And for me, I'm going to say it was the Ravens, in my opinion, just because it's really easy to look past the goddamn Jets. Really easy to do. And the Browns, I talked about on the Student of the Game podcast, when I was talking with Booga Peters about it, he mentioned that game, being particularly bad. And, well, he was right. But I almost picked the Jets. And a matter of fact, I had made the statement that if in fact we were in a position to where the spread was wide enough, I might have taken the Jets because of that letdown. I didn't expect to win, but I knew the Browns would not dominate as they should over a Jets team.
Right.
So,
yeah, that really was pretty bad. The thing with the reason I want to pick the Jets one though is because you let Joe Flacco, of all people. Joe Flacco.
That only makes it more appropriate. I can make an argument that Flacco's an upgrade over Zach Wilson, though.
I'm not going to go there with that because, again, it's Joe Flacco, okay? The fact he's even in the league right now, much less, is shocking to me.
Hey, this is also a team that had Mark Brunell backing up Mark Sanchez. It's a thing they do, dog.
But I will say, though, about Joe Flacco, if there's one positive about Joe Flacco I do like, that long ball is still pretty damn good, though. That long ball, that's about it.
That's all he ever had.
That's all he ever had, right.
Yeah, in my opinion. I know there are Flacco supporters out there, but I digress.
All right, so the name of this episode is called Panic or Nah for a reason. I discussed panic meeting for winners teams on my cold open today on this podcast. I plucked out a couple other teams I want to talk about. Just teams I even no matter the record, teams that I want to talk about a little bit and see should I be panicking about the future of the season or not. So here we go. I got 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 teams here on my list I want to discuss here. First one, the Ravens we just discussed a little while ago. Panic meter, 10 being the worst, 10 being obviously very, very much panicked, or 1 being not so much. Both Ravens.
We're panicking about a 1-1 team 2 weeks into the season. Yeah. Negative 47. Wow. This is why you have a Tool Time T-shirt, EJ. For fuck's sake. You want to know what happened?
I'm just setting you up, brother.
Crazy. You want to be one of these dummies who, Tua is slice bread. Slow the hell down. Can we have a conversation? What about the rookie that got torched by Tyreek Hill? Did you see any of those 6 passes? He was nowhere on the screen. And you're going to come out. Listen, I'm not one to normally give John Harbaugh and his staff a hard time, but you're shocked that they're going to use Tyreek Hill this way? Now, granted, blown assignments by rookie corners notwithstanding, and that defense being exposed like Janet Jackson in the Super Bowl halftime show, good. Outcoached is the word I'll use. Tua, he didn't have to be accurate because Tyreek Hill was that wide open. And I'm not one to trash Tua. I'm not anti-Tua. But if you're going to make a stand, this game ain't it. This game is numbers, not talent, and mistakes, not performance, in my opinion. But
all right,
credit to the Dolphins for being 2-0.
By the way, I said 9 teams. I added 2 more as you were talking right there to the list because why not? All right, next team here, the 0-2 Bengals. Panic meter.
Yeah, okay. You could start lightening that a little bit, and it's not so much the 0-2 record or the struggles by Joey Burr that we've seen despite allegedly solving for the offensive line. For me, it's more Jamal Chase making statements and calling for changes in the offense as a second-year player.
Ooh,
and
really?
showing that panic and lack of confidence. That's what makes me worried, and that sort of thing's what chips away. Losing to Cooper Rush is panic-inducing in and of itself, but that is no offense to Riptide Rush, but the facts of the case are those. They are not in dispute.
What number you gave the Bengals?
7.
Okay. The 0-1-1 Indianapolis Colts.
See, the reason why I'm not going to go full 7 on that, like you got to go 5 or 6 because I'm not going to say they are who we thought they were, but I'll admit you would have expected them to win the past 2 games. But a lot of this is underestimating the Jacksonville Jaguars, right?
Mm-hmm. Agreed.
My fellow writer at the 3-point conversion, Ab Stanley, for 2 weeks straight had them 31st in his power rankings. And I Lucifer Morningstarred him, but he didn't listen.
Go and do it.
Oh no, Facebook's coming. But I made the joke when he dropped his first by the way, shouts to Ab Stanley because he does a good job, but on this one we disagree. I made the joke of, you have all these guys for the 3-point conversion, bing, that cover the AFC South, and you've listened to none of them. Okay.
That's a you problem at that point.
Correct.
Yes. All right. The 0-2 Tennessee Titans.
Yeah, it's time. I'm going to go right to, I'm going to say 8. The reason why it's not higher is the Buffalo Bills, the schedule's going to step back. I'm going to say 8 for right now because I don't feel like they have a clear answer besides give the ball to Derek. And I'll leave it at that.
And I think also to the division they're playing right now, based on how things are, it's wide open.
Yeah. Again, that's why I can't flick it to a 9 as the opportunity is still there.
Okay. Let's go with the 0 surprisingly to Las Vegas Raiders.
Negative 557,000. If y'all dumbasses didn't listen to the student of the game and tell you about how difficult that schedule is, fine. If y'all were too dumb to understand that the Cardinals were a better team after getting smashed by Patrick LaVon Mahomes II, we use his middle name all the time, telling you he's a great quarterback. If you're worried about them getting smashed by that guy, hashtag you problem.
All right, the 1-1 Denver Broncos.
Actually, and I gotta correct one thing. The Chiefs didn't beat the Raiders. The Chargers did, but the Chargers, again, really good team. The only question with them being, of course, Justin Herbert. But go ahead. What was the team again?
The Broncos, same division. The Broncos, 1-1.
Yeah, get worried. Your coach sucks. 8. I don't care that you were this close to 2 wins, and that listen, and I might not even be this panicky if the running backs hold on to the ball in Seattle and they win 30 to whatever as they should have. Okay. But Nathaniel Hackett's a problem the same way that Mike Tomsula was a problem in San Francisco, the way that Freddie Kitchens was a problem in Cleveland. That's a problem. And I don't care how much cooking Russ does. If you don't have a kitchen with proper equipment, how do you prepare food that's tasty?
And I'll be honest with you, I could see that being a one-and-done situation if things go way under than it's supposed to.
He might not make the season end at this rate, Ernest Christian.
All right, here we go. The 1-1 New Orleans Saints.
So this is tough for me to gauge because I never bought the Saints. Mm-hmm. Y'all mofos did, right?
I didn't. I told you this.
Excuse me. Right? No, you bought the Red Tails.
That's added to the list then too. Shit.
By the way, you got to understand your Red Tails almost should have lost to the Jacksonville Jaguars. The Jacksonville Jaguars should both have beaten Carson Wentz and Matt Ryan to completely negate any hope for your Commodores.
Right.
The Jacksonville Jaguars should have made it easy, like Sunday morning. Oh. Anyways, but yeah, so no, definitely a worrisome factor there.
So what number did you give it?
For I didn't give it a number.
No.
I got off on the Carson Wentz tangent. This isn't for you're not calling for the Commanders, are you? Which team was it?
I might as well, but the Saints. It was the Saints first.
Saints. Oh yeah, I'm not panicked yet because I didn't have many expectations too. Yeah, that's why I didn't remember who it was. I don't understand why anyone's panicking about the Saints. They weren't good. If you didn't expect this, you problem. But of course, yes, because you played yourself. Okay,
I'm not surprised. Okay, Minnesota Vikings 1-1.
They are who I thought they were. No panic here from me. I'm going to give it a 4. I know fans are probably a little worried about the fact that they got beat around on Monday night, but if you didn't expect it, #you problem. I tried to tell you, but you wouldn't listen. We tried to tell you on this podcast and on Huddle Up, but you wouldn't listen.
All right. Probably going to try some folks to have them on my list anyway, but I'm going to say anyway, the 2-0 Tampa Buccaneers.
Yeah, I'm worried. 7.
Okay.
You should never have been in a position where you barely beat the Saints and you scored 19 points against a garbage Cowboys team before they were all effed up.
Right.
The only reason, I shouldn't say the only reason, a big reason the Buccaneers won that football game was they got in Marshawn Latimer's head. Or check that, not his head. They got him out of the game. Marshawn Latimer was ejected. That's why y'all won that game. And they have such a wealth of receiving talent that at the end of the day, Tom Brady still has a butt ton of targets. Listen, I'm not here to say that Tom Brady is a bad quarterback as an old man, but I'm trying to say that team isn't the same team as last year. They're going to win the division because the NFC South is the worst division in the NFL, and Tom Brady is great at winning shitty divisions. We have seen that throughout the entirety of history, and even a Brady Patriot fan like you acknowledges that.
Yeah.
By the way, all these people calling for Marshawn Latimer to be fined or punished or suspended, you better not call for that, because the actual instigator of that incident in question is Thomas Edward Patrick Bieber Brady. If he does not start jawing and pull Marshawn Latimer back to start that whole thing, Fournette was the one that he didn't throw a punch, but he made the first hit. He pushed Latimer. Right. Latimer responds by pushing him back, granted hitting him in the face back, which to me is a punch. But that wasn't first contact. If we're going to hand out, and by the way, I'm pretty sure if you want to go full conspiracy theory, this is why Latimer isn't getting suspended. Because if you suspend Latimer, now you got to suspend Thomas Edward Patrick Bieber Brady. Now you got to suspend Leonard Fournette.
And we can't have that.
Yeah,
I can't have that.
Whoever else, well, no, that means he could come back home to you for another 11 days. But no, with the whole scrum that ensued afterward, there would have to be stuff handed down too, because there's some stuff thrown in that scrum, that melee, if you will.
Right. Okay. Two more teams here. Okay.
Mike Evans should be suspended, and the fact that dumbass is appealing it. I don't dislike Mike Evans. I don't mean to say dumbass there because I don't think he's a dumbass. I think it's a dumbass move to appeal it.
Right.
But yeah, that's asinine to me.
Well, I think they play this week. This next team here, the Green Bay Packers, 1-1.
If they do, yeah, I'm not panicking yet. What is there to panic about? We have an unclear the report card's incomplete. Aaron Rodgers came out and did relatively poor in week 1. That's what the Packers do.
You know what? I can't wait till we do our midterms episode.
Yeah.
Can't wait. We do in the middle of the year, we've done midterms. We go through all 32 teams and their grade thus far.
Yeah.
I can't wait. I can't wait for that episode. I cannot wait. And finally,
Way to tease it. Well done.
I cannot wait. We got 6 weeks, 7 weeks ago anyway for that. And finally, the last team here, the Super Bowl champions, the LA Rams. 1-1.
Are you panicking about them? You got 2-0 panics for this and the Packers, right? Why are we panicking in 2 weeks about the Rams? They came out and dominated the Falcons just as they should have, and people were motivated defensively and crushed Yeah, people keep forgetting it was 10-10 in the first half of the opener against the team we all picked to win the fucking Super Bowl. Mm-hmm. Why are we panicking?
Well, the Rams, the Falcons had a chance to win that game last week.
The Falcons have a chance to win every game until they blow it. That's why it's incomplete.
Although this week was in reverse though. They were down big, came back, and had a chance to win the game late. So, I mean, I'm looking. I'll be honest. I'm looking some of the Rams.
Okay, you know what? Fine. I'll give it a 3 to make it happen.
So you gave it 3, and you get Packers what again? You get Packers what?
0.
Okay, right. All right. Let's go to college football for a little bit. Takeaways. What did you learn this week in college football?
You couldn't learn a damn thing this week for the most part. If you thought Miami was going to beat an SEC team, you were more optimistic than I.
Wait, Kyle. I thought they were back.
Cute. Just like Texas, am I right? Anyways, no, with all the lopsided trash games, I mean, College Game Day was an Appalachian State. From a programming standpoint, really easy for me to kind of glance over college this week. But as far as watching games, listen, I had a lot of fun doing the night shift, covering UCF going to Boca Raton to play Florida Atlantic with the black and gold banneret. Bing! But it didn't do a lot else for me. So,
wait, you came down here?
No, I would have.
Because if you I would have to get together with you at that point. I would have had to see you because Boca's like freaking like 10 minutes from my house.
If I knew you lived that close, I might have gone to the game and crashed there, but I'd have to leave early the next morning to get to Jacksonville. That's the problem.
Right.
And it's already 2 or 3 hours from my house. I just tacked on another 2 on top of that.
Yeah. Yeah. We thought the A&M game didn't surprise you, right? That didn't surprise you. Right?
Oh no. I picked it that way. And I'm not saying that Miami's bad. They're in the ACC and they're going to do well in the ACC. They're going to get the bowl game. I've picked the possibility of UCF facing them in the First Responder Bowl as being a thing. So,
right. One more thing. Does it feel like it's just Georgia and everybody else right now?
Yeah. It's certainly hard to argue that. Against that, rather. But in this day and age, the way college football has gone so far, I'm not prepared. I'm never going to vote against Alabama having a chance.
Of course, yeah.
But, and I can't even put Ohio State out to pasture as having a chance. But from 4 down, yeah, no, Georgia's stomping it. Period.
And I said it because like they came to the year feeling a little bit out of the picture. Like they were number 3 in AP.
We were responsible that we were worried they were rebuilding and they were retooling. I get you.
Right. And I mean they look like a bunch of world beaters now. So anyway, plug away, Kyle. You're a busy man.
Ernest, Christian, and honor, joy, and privilege to step in for another week. Not too many Tool-like takes from you, I have to admit. That was a strong performance.
Saving it for tonight's Huddle Up Podcast.
You're gonna blow it when it comes time to the power ranking.
Exactly.
Always do. Although, in the interest of fairness, it was your bottom 5 that was awful last week, not your top 10. So
do you want to know my power rankings right now?
No,
because I made some course corrections this week.
Oh, there's hope. Okay.
Should I tell you now, or should I wait till tonight's podcast?
No, I want to hold on to hope for tonight.
Because I'm going to post I'll post on my Facebook page and stuff after we air the show.
Listen, I got so much stuff I'm doing today over and above recording this with you, Ernest Christian. I'm appearing on the Legacy Makers Sports with Drew Whittingham tonight. Tonight being Tuesday night that I'm recording. So check that out. I've shared it on my Facebook page, The Student of the Game. I'm stepping in with the Play Callers Network, talking some Jacksonville Jaguars as they do their it's not the matchup mania, but the matchup, their matchup show where they are going through each week and going through all the different pairings in the NFL. I am representing the Jacksonville Jaguars and talking to their Chargers expert about how that game is going to go. So looking forward to that. Shouts to Mike Patton for turning me on to that group.
Yes. And
shouts to Cool, the guy that runs the Play Caller Network there too. That's a fun time all the way around. I'm looking forward to that. That's something else I'm doing tonight. Hey, there's this other thing I'm doing tonight. Maybe you've heard of it, called the Huddle Up Podcast.
Can't wait.
Yeah.
I've been saying. I told Jim this, and I said in my podcast last week that right now that's probably the most fun I'm having on all the shows I'm doing is the Huddle Up show. I'm having so much fun doing it so far.
It is a
lot
good
of fun.
And not just dunking on you, although that helps. It's amazing that the Huddle Up podcast has so much basketball in it. But yeah, so to recap, tonight for me, 6 o'clock will be the Legacy Maker Sports. I will be on with Drew Willingham in the In or Out sports debate that he does every Tuesday. Mm-hmm. I will be episode number 50. So of course he had something this special for his show, right? Then Huddle Up Podcast, and then after that, NFL Matchup Madness. And that's not even getting into on Wednesday, where we drop the Matchup Mania. Bing! On the 3pointconversion.com. That's the number 3, not the word 3. But check me out on Twitter at the SOTG. Check me out on Instagram as the SOTG. I mentioned Facebook as the student of the game. Of course, my work with the Black and Gold Banneret covering UCF football and basketball. You're gonna have to start thinking about basketball media day here pretty soon for the guys and the ladies. And then, of course, my work covering the Jacksonville Jaguars with the 3-point conversion, as well as the NFL Matchup Mania that comes out on Wednesday. It will be in a very scary theme, EJ Christian, not because of Halloween, but because of the 0-2 marker. And over above that, check out my work as well, covering the Jacksonville Jaguars with A7BN Sports, the Captain Company Morning Show with Captain Chris Hill and oldschool101.com. And of course, my guy, Demosthenes Euclid, and I aren't recording currently, but we
something, Demosthenes Euclid, something.
Hilarity by default on YouTube. At least let me get the damn name out before you talk over me for crap. Required viewing on YouTube, Hilarity by Default YouTube channel. EJ Christian, honor, joy, and privilege. But until next time, class dismissed.